Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulil kareem. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. So in one recent talk, I mentioned that according to Islamic tradition, criticism of a person is given in a helpful spirit. And I mentioned this with regard to the word nasaha yansahu, which is on the one hand means to give advice, and on the other hand also means to be well-wishing towards a person. So advice or criticism is given in a spirit of being well-wishing, being benign towards that person, not in order to do a person down. So in another recent talk, I mentioned that in the media nowadays, it's a constant litany really of hounding of individuals, naming and shaming of individuals in order to topple them. So that's really the absolute opposite of what journalism should be looked at from an Islamic point of view. So in this regard, I'd like to mention a hadith which came to mind the other day, but I thought I'd mention it in another talk. And that hadith is a very striking hadith that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to his companions that you should help your brother, whether he's a zalim or mazlum, whether he's being oppressed or he's the oppressor. So the companions were rather taken aback, and they said, of course, Ya Rasulullah, will help our brother if he's being oppressed, but how can we possibly help him if he's the oppressor? And then the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, tahjuzuhu aw tamna'uhu min al-zulm fa inna zalika nasruhu. So you'll stop him from being an oppressor. The way to help an oppressor is to stop him from his oppression, and that will be your help towards him. So even we should extend help towards a person who is an oppressor, but in a helpful way by stopping him from continuing along that path to self-destruction. So as I said, the modern media is really quite the opposite of this, and it seems to be there's just one hounding of an individual, one hounding after another, and the aim is to just topple everybody who's in power. It seems like that. Just in the last few months, I don't really have time to give you names and to give you the instances. Perhaps it's just been a constant litany of topple one, topple the other, name and shame one, and then throw them to the dogs. That's exactly the opposite of what the Islamic tradition of journalism envisages. So to my mind, there's two advantages in this. One is in this approach, this naming and shaming approach to journalism. One disadvantage is that no one is without sin, as the old adage attributed indeed to the New Testament, to Jesus Christ, alayhi salam, that let him who is without sin throw the first stone. So no one is without blame, and there but by the grace of God go I. In that spirit, one should hold back from wanting to topple a person, because everybody is got a lot of faults, and everybody has a lot to answer for. And the people who are naming and shaming these individuals, are they without fault? No, they're not. So they should be humble in this regard, and be more conscious of their own faults than so conscious of somebody else's. The second big disadvantage of this, to my mind, is that capable people people who deserve to come to the top, to assume positions of responsibility of society, will never take on those positions, because they know that, you know, if they're going to take on a responsible position, a high-profile position in society, they're just going to be named and shamed and toppled. So what's the point? So it's going to stop and prevent and deter people who have the capability to rise to the top from doing so. So to my mind, you know, obviously these ills do exist and they should be addressed. So to my mind, the most effective way, rather than naming and shaming individuals, the way to go about this is to concentrate on use the storytelling approach, which is, you know, one of the topics I talk about regularly in my talks. Use the storytelling approach, and use fictional characters, and then you know, the people who are all the people who are acting in this manner, in the manner referred to, all the people who exhibit the trait which is being referred to in this in the story that you come up with, all of them will, you know, they will feel targeted, but they won't be on the defensive. They won't feel threatened, and they'll feel that, yes, you know, this we do have this characteristic, we do have this fault, and, you know, maybe we should go about doing something about it. So I think the storytelling approach is much more effective here than the naming and shaming approach, which is current in modern journalism. I'd just like to sort of introduce, you know, perhaps you have some other way. I come up with the storytelling approach to address such a, you know, this problem, you know, the faults that exist in society. I think the storytelling approach is a very effective approach. Do you think that some other approach might be more effective? I can think of just one, you know, which you know, might be effective, and I'd like to go into that in my next talk, which will cite another verse of the Quran. I mean, if we do have complaints about individuals, where should these complaints be addressed to? To whom should we address these complaints? So hopefully I'll carry on with this theme in my next talk. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين.